Welcome back to Getting Started with GarageBand with me, Jonathan. So today we're going to look at starting to edit in GarageBand. So the first session we looked at how to get GarageBand started and how to get some tracks recorded. And so first of all we're going to open up GarageBand down here. Here it is, the logo with the amplifier and the guitar. So I'm just going to open that up. And once again it will automatically load whatever the last project was, and I think the last project was our starter song, which is just a couple of bars that I'd recorded. So yeah, starter GarageBand project, we can see that coming up, and there we go. Okay, so since I last started I've added a little bass line as well. That was just using the MIDI keyboard, and I used the MIDI bass, fingerstyle bass. There's all these other basses there as well. So at the moment what we have is this. So again, last time we looked at how to start to edit the MIDI files, and I'm going to just have a quick look at that again. So using the bass one that I've just added. So here's the bass track that I've clicked on, and we're going to click on that. Oh, just one thing that I meant to mention before. Can you see how the bass file is lighter grey? It's lit up compared with these others, and that means that if I was to record anything now, it would record on that track. So sometimes people have a problem and they end up recording on a track they didn't mean to, or they record over something that they didn't want to. So always check before you press record, where is it highlighted, where is the light grey track, because that's the only one that it will record on. So if you want to keep all these, don't forget here's the plus button, we add the plus and we can add another track to record in. If you want to over record some of these, say you want to over record the guitar, click on the guitar track and that's the one it will record on. Okay, so I've double clicked on the bass notes and you can see the MIDI file has come up down at the bottom. And what I'm going to do, because it's kind of okay, so I think that last note could just do with being a bit longer. So once again I'm going to hover the mouse over it until that little icon comes up, and then I'm just going to stretch it out. So we'll just stretch it out a little bit, and then we'll have a little listen to that. Okay, that'll do. Now, one thing you might notice if we just hover over here, so my timeline, if you like, my marker bar there is exactly on the start of the 5th bar, but you'll notice the note itself starts slightly before it, and I just want to say that is absolutely okay. It gives it a human quality of sometimes notes start a bit ahead of time or a bit behind time. So always use your ears. Don't worry about thinking, oh, I must get that right on the line there. No, you don't. It depends on what you want to do, but it gives it a human quality. So you see this first note, that is exactly where the 3rd bar begins. But after that, there's the 4th bar, just before, the 5th bar just before, and that's probably something to do with my natural style. I just slightly come in a bit early, but it gives it a natural feel, so don't worry too much about that. There are all sorts of things you can do to automatically what they call quantize the MIDI files, but we won't worry about that for now. The fact is, if you listen to it and it sounds okay, then it's fine. Okay, so we're talking about editing today. So let's first of all look at the drums. Now the drums at the moment, they start before anything else. And we may be thinking, I don't want a drum intro, so I'm going to go to the start of that 3rd bar. You can see I've just lined it up there, and I'm going to right click on the track, and you'll see it comes up with the option to split at playhead. So I'm going to click on that, split at playhead, and you'll see now, if I take that, that we've got a split. So we've now got two separate sections of drums. So I'm going to just click on that, and I'm going to cut that. I'm going to just get rid of that. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same at the end, and we're just going to go to where the end of the music is, which is actually, maybe it's, let's just find the end of the music. So that's maybe where the end of the music is. It's just about here, and you can see how a little marker is the guitar. You can see the last strum just starting on that. So I'm going to do the same again, split at playhead, right click, split at playhead, and it splits where this line is, and then I'm going to cut that. I'm just going to delete that. So now we have a much neater little thing, and when we press play, got quiet, and everything comes in together. Ooh, but do we want an extra little bit at the end? Well, we can do that. So once again, we hover over the drum track in this case, and I'm just going to just stretch it slightly. Let's just see, and we should see another little drum come up. There we go. So another little kick drum to finish, and let's just see the difference in that. So that's a bit better, and we can live with that for now. Okay, so let me show you one more thing that I want to show you. So we've got, these are all MIDI tracks, so the drums are the soundtrack at the moment, but we'll talk about that later. But we've got a MIDI piano and a MIDI bass, but we have a guitar which is a live guitar. So I actually played the guitar to make that tune, and I'm going to show you a very handy little thing to know when it comes to editing. So if you click here on mix at the top, so see mix there, and show automation. So, and I don't know how well you can see that, but it comes up and there are lines here. So if we want something louder or softer, we can push these lines up and down. And if you can see on the left here, as I'm pushing it up, this little volume button will go up and down. Okay. But it's worth doing that because it just remembers it. So you can see with the guitar that I've started here. Now what's quite a handy thing is that I can left click on the guitar line just before, and then I can drag this down. So this would give me a fade in. Let me show you. So I've got a slide up, this will give me a fade in. But if I do another little click, so I've got another little button, and pull that down, now this would be completely silent. And let's have a little listen. So complete silence until it gets the moment, and then everything's kicking in together. And so you can hear some little clicks and whirls happening at the end of the guitar. So the last strum of the guitar is just here. I don't know how well you can see it, but I can see it lit up on the guitar there. And so if I put a little spot just after it, and then we'll have one about here, and just pull that down, so not a steep gradient but just a gentle gradient, and what we get is a fade out then. So let's just have a little listen to that. Okay, right, so that's a really useful tool, and there's lots you can do with that show automation button and moving the automation about. So really useful thing to get a hold of. So I'm going to turn that off for a minute. Now when I was listening to it, I was thinking that last bass line could do with, you know, still being a bit longer, so I'm just going to drag it out, and then we're going to do this. Let's have a little this. Oh, now what I've done there, and I don't know if you can see, I didn't do it by deliberate, I've actually accidentally dragged the bass so that it's starting after everything else. Can you see how there's a gap there? So let's just see if I've got undo, change, and undo, drag. So I've undone the things I've done. So if you go into edit and undo, you can undo the previous actions that you've done. Okay, so I'm going to go undo and back it goes. And then when I click on this again, I'm going to go forward and find that bass, and I'm just going to drag the bass, and this time I'm just dragging the bass line out, bass note out. So let's have another little listen. Okay, so that's an idea about how we can edit. And don't forget, if we want to change things like the drums, so if I'm clicking into the drums and I think, do you know what, maybe I want it to be a bit more interesting at the end, so I'm going to come to a bit before the end, maybe about here, split, and I'm going to split that. And now this last one, so you can see it's only the last section that's lit up. I can light up the first section or the last section just by left clicking on them. And the last one, I'm going to give it a bit more interest. So I've dragged this complication. You can see it's getting more complex. So here's the complex side, here's the simple side. So it's getting more complex. And maybe we'll just add a little fill and see what happens. So let's just have a little listen now. So just a little interest there. Okay, so that's where we've done for editing today, and I think that's enough for that. So I hope you've enjoyed that and found that useful, and I'll be doing some more next time. Bye for now.